Wow, you know what? I'm gonna let my hair down this one. It's been all morning. Oh, up in a hair tie, right? A ponytail or whatever. All right, so you know what? This is a spontaneous stream. I didn't even think of going live. I've got a month old at home. I haven't gone live pretty much in 35 days or so. I don't know. I didn't, but I felt like doing this now. Because why not? You know what I'm saying? I may get some people. I may not. It's always fun to go live, and if I was moved to do it, even though my time is limited, isn't everyone's always. But even if my time is limited right now, it's um, it's something very, very good to go with if I can afford to do it. And right now, thank God, totally, yeah, I can afford to do it. All right, so you know what? I mean, let's talk about the two major things that happened in my life recently, which is a newborn and the death of our doggo. It's you know what? Maybe I'll change. Can I change the title on the fly? No, I can't. But okay, you know what? I'll put that in the chat. Life with a newborn and the death of our doggo of 15 years, almost. Pinky. Hey, Robert Harrison is here. Hey, man. Pin. So, Robert, since I never really do this and I don't know who's going to be, what's going to be as far as the audience is concerned or how long I'll be on, so I figured I'll just go. And these are the two topics that, obviously it's a Q&A, as always. Robert, tell me things. How are you? How is Paula? Hi, how is Cecil, right, the cat? How's Cecil? Shalom to you. Peace. Peace to you. Peace to all of us. An end to war and bloodshed. Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be nice? And in my prayers and when I speak to God, and occasionally I'll just get so, and I'll say, you know what? Even if we're not worthy, make us worthy. Even if we're not, even if we don't merit it. My God, hasn't humanity been through the shredder, enough? I'm not even talking about like the Hebrew people, the state of Israel, Jews. I'm talking about just globally. Ugh, the world is so messed up. And even if we don't technically merit it by law, then oh my God, don't we merit it by grace? Just to be made worthy of being redeemed. And I'm not even talking about God snaps his fingers, as it were, and everything is solved. But no, make me better. Make us better. Make us worthy. Help us become worthy of that redemption, of that returning to the root. And it's nothing like life and death to bring certain things into perspective and to so when you say peace, shalom, yeah, I'm just starting. I'm here, I guess, maybe only for a few minutes, but oh, see, look at this. Robert says, just got back from a beach trip with the church. Also, I'm reading Torah in the book of Leviticus, loving it. Leviticus, Vayikra is difficult since it deals with the temple and the ritual worship more than anything. And since we don't have that now, it's sometimes a little difficult to see how exactly the things were carried out. And that's why you have the Mishnah, that's why you have the Talmud, that's why you have places like the Temple Institute, and that's why you have people, Jews and non-Jews alike, who are busy trying to make that idea of the temple more popular and truly how it was back then. What can we learn from those rituals? We don't necessarily need to be performing them now, but what can we learn from them? Because even though you may say the ritual worship itself is gone, it was supposed to always be around the individual and the community, us as human beings in this world, as earthlings, and how we create more union between the divine and between the divine masculine and the divine feminine forces, right? And how we become better, how we, and then with that ripple effect, make the world a better place in the process. And that is true with or without a temple. It was true before the Ten Commandments were given. It was true, before the temple was built. It was true before the tabernacle was erected for the first time. It's that idea of the human being that living temple. And as I always say, should the third temple come, may it be a vegan one. And it's also just a means to an end. There is something greater. There is something beyond that. Leviticus has a lot of technicalities, And when you go into the Mishnah and the Talmud on how these ritual worship acts, actually took place and how they were carried out, and what the Israelites were doing, what the Levites were doing, what the priests were doing, and you see how it all was ideally working together to bring about change into the world, right? And expressing more divinity through the work of the individual and the people. That union of the masculine and feminine when the temple stood and when the people were worthy, it was like a constant thing, much like the higher feminine and masculine that don't ever part, that are always in a state of union, of mating, always bringing new things into creation. And over here, only on the bottom, let's say, is where it's, well, sometimes is and sometimes is not. There are times when there is unity, there are times when there is not unity. This is also true to the actual ritual worship and ritual cleanliness, right, of the man, of the woman, of the union, and so on and so on and so on. So the book of Leviticus, it can be challenging, very challenging, and it's important to always, well, not always, if you want to get into it, it helps to have the Mishnah there. It helps to have books by the Temple Institute and others there to sort of plant it in your mind's eye of how it actually went down. And yes, there are some perhaps differences between what's written in the Torah and what was brought down later in the Mishnah in the sense of what halacha is. The traditions don't differ. Halacha, right, makes one of them. Like this is halacha, this is the ruling. But the other traditions came from somewhere. They all have their place. So reading Torah is the best thing in the world. I mean, there are many best things in the world, and Torah is one of them. It's one of those things that can help to ground you, whether it's to bring you perspective, whether it's to teach you what not to do, whether it's to teach you how good you could be, whether it's to clear your vision on what it is you should be aiming at. you know, whether it's ritual worship or tons of more social rules of the individual and the community, like we had in Mishpatim, the recent Torah portion. And or now, right, in this week's Torah portion, where Moses is commanded that later on he will gather all of the different elements and all of the different metals and all the different fabrics and all the different people and anoint them and build this and make that, and that will be gold and that will have a diamond and that will be, and all of that is just a means to an end. Means to an end. Ariel says, yes, would like to think that we have been through enough already. Yeah, but you know what? Every time you think it can't get any worse, somebody throws you a shovel and say, keep on digging, son. And it's true. Even if it's not true, thank God to me right now as an individual, I know that it might be soon. And I know that that many people, even as I sit here right now speaking to you and pixelating on your screen, people are suffering all over the world. People are suffering here in the radius of 100 meters from now. Suffering is subjective, but it's inescapable, at least right now. So I take great length to acknowledge the wonder and blessing that is going live spontaneously here on a Sunday morning. And what are you people doing up anyway? Shalom, everyone. Sneezer says this is a much better time for me. Well, spontaneity is spontaneity. Robert says, your sun piece is so beautiful. I thought about with your sun coming in, Pinky going out, I thought about the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh. Yes, and look, you know what? Pinky, I don't know if I mentioned this. Have I gone live? Have I streamed ever since it happened? Or has it only been a short that I said something about it? Or have I not? I'll give you the quick rundown. The quick rundown is I would love to go and exit this world the way that Pinky did. And she didn't have to be put to sleep at a vet's clinic or in some veterinary hospital. She didn't have to go through tons of medication or surgeries or I don't know what. It was a few days of her degenerating relatively quickly, a little bit neurologically and a lot physically, and then that came to a head and culminated on the third day where we started to notice this. In that morning, I took her to the vet because it was a weekend with Shabbos. I didn't take her. Sunday morning, 2 weeks ago, was it? I took her to the vet, and that at sundown, Sunday, she died as the sun was setting, and she died in her bed over here, which is still here. I'm thinking when will I get rid of it, or I don't know what, but it's still here with her toys there and her leash in there. I'm looking at it right now, and she's not here. And occasionally I'll see a shadow, or in the middle of the night when I'm feeding the baby or whatnot, and or anyway, it's been only a couple of weeks losing a dog after almost 15 years. It's something. But the point is that I would love to go out the way she did because we felt the woman and I, that it was going to happen. I carried her because she couldn't walk straight at that point. She was. I carried her to her bed. She was tried to go up the steps. She realized she couldn't do it. She came down. I carried her to her bed, and I was petting her, and I was singing to her and talking to her and thanking her for the time she spent with us. And we were. Um, the older kids weren't here, so the TV wasn't on, blaring something. I don't know, and I just had some quiet music going, and um, it was just something very special the way she went. And obviously, I'm saddened by her departure. She was with us for almost 15 years. She was with us from before we had kids to now the fourth one being born. She stayed around long enough to hear his name, and then 2 days later, she was gone. And I'm very, very at peace, wholeheartedly content with the way that she left and the way that we said goodbye. And it didn't happen. She was supposed to have an emergency sort of appointment at a cardiologist's office the following morning. And she was like, nope, I'm just going to cash in my chips right now. See you later. I'll save you a few shekels along the way. And off I go. It was, as much as it can be, a lovely way to die, in my opinion, which is why I'm so at peace with it. I really am. And I think we gave her and provided her with a good life, and relatively speaking, people who loved her, walks and food and cuddles and whatnot. There is some sadness that comes along with it, of course. And we probably will get another doggy at some point, maybe in a year or two when the newborn is more manageable. It's just a dog is a very special thing, for sure. Okay, how is your kids taking Pinky's passing? They took it very rough the first couple of days. But I think that even though you feel the lack of her presence, I mean, when I was making Kiddush, when I was sanctifying the day, she knows 3 times a day, every Shabbos, whenever I sanctify the day, um, by breaking bread, that she will get something extra. Right after we make Kiddush, after we sanctify the day, she will get something, and she's not there. When I was earlier, just yesterday, when I was taking this tablecloth and sort of wringing it out over the sink from all the Shabbos leftovers and whatnot. That's where she would be hopping by the sink, hoping to catch some scraps or, crumbs. It's not there. It's difficult a little bit because she used to get me up first thing in the morning to take her for a walk, at a little after the sun rose or depending summer, winter, whatever. And it would be going out one of the first things in the morning. It would be later going out with a kid or two for an afternoon walk. It would be maybe clearing my mind at 11 p.m. and taking her for 5 minutes. It was an excuse to go out. It's such a lovely relationship. And, she was a bit of a bully. She had an antisocial streak a little bit. She was a bit of a bitch. But that's Pinky. That's Pinky. She was a good friend. So they took it kind of hard the first couple of days, but time, I think, will heal the wounds and we'll have to take it one day at a time. And the fact that we got the baby and then she left shortly after that, it was really something there. It's fundamental. Robert says, I've been listening to a lot of Bob Dylan lately. Found out he did a few spiritual songs. Hey, Eli's here too. Hey, not the least of which is you got to serve somebody. Right? What did Jeremiah say in the Book of Lamentations? It's good for a man or person to carry a yoke in their youth. It's like, yeah, you got to serve somebody. I know that's not a spiritual song per se. Maybe it is. That line I quote not often, but that idea of taking on a yoke, especially in youth, the idea of serving somebody, and it can sometimes be yourself, and sometimes it should be yourself. Ella had a message retracted. I hope that you okay. Ariel says, like to hear you say that. Seriously fed up with people keeping on telling me that things are going to get better. Not a fan of false hope and getting disappointed personally. No, I like to keep the hope alive that things will become better, but I know that chances are things sometimes get worse before they get better. And you could be the most righteous individual in the world. And if you're at the wrong place at the wrong time, that's it. You're done. And however you want to take that in your mind, in your mind's eye, and in your fancy, things happen, life happens, and crappy things happen to good people constantly. Oy. Robert says at least Pinky and Peace got to be around each other for a few days. Yep, correct. Correct. Oh, hold on a second. Spontaneous. Hey, man, are you on your way? Yofi, see you soon. Yes. Then we'll see when you get home, okay? Thanks. I'm in a half hour. Yeah, yeah, in a half hour. I gotta go in a half hour. Within a half hour. Okay. See ya. Okay. Um, yeah, they got to be around each other for a few days. That's right. Ella says air, fire, water, earth. The three Aleph Mem Shin mother letters. Yes, that's right. That's the very famous Mishnah in Sefer Yetzirah. And Aleph is air, and Shin is fire, and Mem is water. The Aleph Mem Shin, the Arba Imot. And well, so many things have been said on about Sefer Yetzirah, so I won't. Anything that I would say would be detracting from the wonder that is Sefer Yetzirah. So let's just say it's lovely the way that it takes the world and the nefesh, right, the spiritual element and the physical element of the human being, and that idea of time. It speaks of the constellations, and it speaks of the inner organs, and it speaks of the senses. It speaks of the way that the body and the mind are connected in the way that we are mirrored. We and the stars, we and the universe mirror each other. Hey, James Bong is here. Shalom. Good morning from West Kentucky. Good morning. Good morning. First time I've seen HN on this early here. Yeah, spontaneous is spontaneous. Actually, I should clock out. I think I'm still clocked in. I had a short break from work, taking a short break, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go live, but I'm gonna clock out, and I'll deal with that later. Hang on a second. I don't want to. Boom, and we're clocked out. Very good. Okay. Cheers to life. Indeed, l'chaim, 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 to life. So Nizar says to Ariel, things do get better, just not always in the short term, and not always from your perspective. Yep, yep, yep. A lot of things are about perspective. It's unbelievable. That famous story is at Rabbi Akiva. I mentioned it recently, right? Where he was walking. His lantern fell, broke, and his rooster, or it was the animal he was walking with, was killed. And then he found out the morning after that there were people in the woods, robbers, pillagers, plunderers, whatever it was, that would do him harm. And while it may have looked like bad luck and a bad break in the short term, was saved his life in the long term. Spring is officially here in West Kentucky. Really? It's February, isn't it? Isn't it still February in West Kentucky? Isn't it still Shvat over here? Sneezer says to Bong, LOL, we got hit with like 6 feet of snow here in Ottawa. Everything we'd missed all winter in a few days. Ay, ay, ay. Wow, wow. I mean, I hope that you're able to still get things done and have a good life there with those 6 feet of snow. Robert says, "So how's life for you? Catch us up on on some behind the scenes with you, Achi." Well, I don't know what you mean behind the scenes, because I guess this is always behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty transparent, so I guess it's a lot of times behind the scenes. But I'm looking forward behind the scenes. Behind the scenes, I'm looking forward in a couple of weeks to taking my paternity leave. I did that with the previous kid, and I might not, depending on the woman and if she feels that she can go back to work. And if I am going to be taking paternity leave, and I think I did mention this at some point, I want to try not stopping to work out, and I want to try yoga, get back into yoga. I haven't done that regularly since I was 18, so I really do want to give it a shot for different reasons. But and I would want to get up. I'd want to get some push-ups in, some sit-ups in. This sounds familiar. Have I said this already? Have I recorded? Have I streamed? I don't remember if in the past 30 something days I recorded. I know I did a couple of shorts, but did I stream? Did I record? Who knows? Who can remember? Life is a blur with you when you have a newborn. Life is a blur, but it's such a blessed blur. Oh my god. To be with that little human puppy, it's just wow. All the fragility and all of the and all of the intimacy and all of the inescapable wonder that is life, encapsulated in this This little thing, this little puppy that's not even aware of itself, that can't even smile yet. Um, Incidentally, I was reminiscing about this the other day, seeing as how he's showing signs of starting to give his first genuine smile of recognition, in a few weeks perhaps. I wrote my first short movie script about this period of time precisely. 10 15 page script on um, basically this time where one of the characters, the main character, well, his brother, is going through this period of time where it's the newborn stage, really, really early on, and they're not sleeping, and it's the stress and the hormones and the emotions. It's all at the surface, and you got to take care of this thing, and it's his first kid. And then towards the end at the climax, the baby smiles, and all the tension that was going on in the brother's life, for those precious few moments where he sees his real genuine smile for the first time, it all just melts away. And all he wants to do in those moments is to continue to have that to happen. I mean, that's not exactly how I wrote it, but that's and seeing as how the little one is about to smile, hopefully within a few weeks, he's showing signs of starting to see us and understand there's a bit of a difference, and there's something else here at play, and it's not just me in the universe. I know it comes later, but the smile, depending on the kid, can come relatively early, within a few weeks, say, a couple of months. So it's a few weeks away, if it's going to be like mainstream regular baby smiles like we've had in the past. And I can't even try and express what that does to a tired parent, the mother, the father, whatever the case may be, when you start to have a relationship as small as a grin, a smile of recognition, that already can. I mean, there's tons of oxytocin in the air, much like with dogs, incidentally, right? But even more so, since it's the fruit of my loins that I'm holding, taking care of. There's so much, like I said, fragility. Definitely with a Hebrew baby who was circumcised on the eighth day, and we've only recently stopped taking care of the wound of the covenant that was placed on him. It's all so new. It's all so fresh. And along with all of the sleep deprivation, and along with all of the emotions and tensions that rise to the or that threaten to rise to the surface, there's also this amazing amount of grace and of love and of those positive bonding hormones, actions, things that are implanted in our memory, like deeply, those first experiences. And to know that you have the responsibility and the duty to give that to this helpless little human being, it's uh, it's something that it's true to every kid, I think, no matter how many kids you have. And I've only had a few now. I don't know. Some people have 12, 13 kids, but I know that with my kids, it was just an awe-inspiring thing to have a newborn. And I, hopefully, with paternity leave, will be able to put work behind me for like 8 or 9 weeks. Just be there all for the mother and the children. And I look forward to it. I look forward to paternity leave whenever it comes, and if it comes, then I think it will, because for different reasons, it's better, it's more sound financially also that I take paternity leave. That's behind the scenes. That mainly behind the scenes. I'm happy with my work. I'm happy with my life. Obviously, there are things I'm still doing wrong that I need to correct in my life. But all things considered, there's so much. There's such an abundance, even with Pinky passing and something being lost from the home and from our lives that affected us every single day. I can say that there is such richness. And when my teenager, specifies one of his goals as being rich, I remind him nearly every time there are some people who are so poor, all they have is money, right? That's Bob Marley, or maybe he was quoting someone, but or Woody Allen, right? Some people settle so cheaply, they marry for money. Well, money. Maybe not 6 feet, he says, but the snowbanks between sidewalks and road are. Wow. Wow, wow. Yeah, snow is fun day of, maybe day later. But then if there's no fresh snow and all the traffic and it all becomes yucky and gucky and mucky, and then it's a lot less fun. And then there's a lot of sleet and a lot of compressed snow, and it's a lot of people falling, tripping, spraining, banging, breaking. But snow is wonderful. Incidentally, something I learned in my first year in yeshiva, learned. Someone said it in some other context, and I never fully pursued it, but I kind of want to all the time. Whenever snow is brought up, sheleg in Hebrew, the gematria is 333. Shin lamed gimel is 333. There's something about the three threes and the nine and the way that the different sediment, the different types of precipitation, right? Hail, snow, graupel, whatever it is, and they and rain, right? And dew. They each have their own unique divine um, root and element, right, that they are bringing into creation. And do I have to go soon? Not yet. And the gematria of the Shin Lamed Gimel and the 333, I think it has something to do with what snow represents, right, in the spiritual. And there's the verses from Isaiah that, like, the rain and the snow fall from the sky and don't come back, right, but do as they were bid to do. So is what I say, God says. I send it into creation, I send it down, let's say, and it will bear fruit in time, much like the precipitation and the rain and now snow, as far as I know, may not be as good as rain for the soil. Maybe it's good for certain growths, right? For certain things that grow, but not for others. I don't know precisely how it goes. I know that for some things it's not good to be oversaturated with water because you ruin it, and I don't know much about right the land and how you tend to it. But snow is a very beautiful thing, a very wondrous thing, right? The whole snowflake thing that no two snowflakes are alike. Maybe that's been debunked. I don't know. That's Canada for you, says James Bong. Ariel says, so people are saying this from God perspective then, Senizer? Beri'ah, says Ella. Creation. Beri'ah is also one of the classic four worlds. Pardon me. Beri'ah corresponding to the higher feminine, the great mother. So Nizar says to Ariel, essentially, yes, we don't always know why what happens is for the best, but God knows. Yes, it's that calculating God, right? Because there are different facets of God and different ways in which God is revealed in the world, different divine emanations. And there is, even after all, despite the chaos, there is that meter that's running. There is that knowledge, that calculation that's always going into unbelievable and incalculable going in that particular way, in the way that just like your deeds are not mine, right? Your paths are not my paths, says God, right? Again, I think it's Isaiah, right? Maybe it's even from the same. Never mind. Hang on a second. Okay, here it is. Oh wait, no, I missed it. It jumped. Hang on. If anything, this, and I've only been on for about a half hour, and I already have 8 people here watching and 2 likes, and the chat is going, and I'm so thankful for the regulars, or if there are others who are not regulars, I deeply appreciate it. Look at that, I just press go live whenever, it doesn't really matter, I can just do it. But people are here sharing this lovely chat with me, and I love it, I thank you. But let's see, if anything, this will make me, because I'm gonna have to go soon, so I can't do the entire chat right now, but I would love to have this be an opportunity to have to go back live and address everything that you people are saying. Well, let's see. Bong says, think I'll play the Beatles song, Here Comes the Sun. It's going to be 60 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, well, stay warm. I was dancing with the newborn, and I played Abbey, was it Abbey Road, back to back? What is it? Okay. Okay. It usually doesn't happen, so it happened now. I yeeted them out of here. You didn't yeet them? No, I wanted to. Oh, okay, that's not the same thing as yeeting a cat. I mean, but yeeting like. Okay, I'm actually live here now. I decided to go spontaneously live. Yes, I am. But you know what? Can I say hi to her? No, dude. Okay. I will continue this another time. Lord knows when. I thank you for being here. I hope it was of some value. I wanted to go live, and I did, and you people were here, and I'm so blessed and so grateful. It is lovely. I hopefully will continue this very chat, maybe even this week. Enjoy your Sunday. Those of you who kept Shabbos, I hope you enjoyed your Shabbos. Let's have a wonderful new week of positivity, of peace, of overcoming our weaknesses, of despite all the circumstances, rising to the occasion when we can, and doing and being better, being blessed and being a blessing, God willing. God bless.